watching our live and continuing coverage of Sadananda Gowda's first railway budget. One of the key tentpoles of his budget was public-private participation. An old idea, he's trying to renew it. Can he succeed? We'll discuss. He wants to finance the high-speed rail network through public-private participation. I want to throw this open to all our guests, starting with Rohit Saran. Given the fact that PPP hasn't worked successfully, by and large, across the country, wherever it's been tried, can it become the central driving force for this new idea?
Yes, if the project initially is chosen well, which means it's viable.
No, but it hasn't worked so far. Why should it work now?
Because maybe the project selections were not good. You start small, choose a project where I as a private partner can see the benefits involved. I think it could work. There have been stretches, for example, in Gujarat, and I'm sure in others, where in roads, PPP has worked where it has not worked. So I think if they start small, choose the right project, which means it has been vetted for all the risks involved, then it would work.
Mr. Rana, why has it not worked so far, and can it work in the future?
The investments have to be private party friendly also. Unless the private person sees some benefit out of it, he will not come. It has to be a win-win situation for both the railways country and the private party. So therefore, the terms and conditions, the model by which it works has to be a balanced one, which has not been practical for the railways up till now.
So why has it not been practical, Dr. Lahiri? Why have they not been able to get it to work so far? So many ministers have spoken about this in the past.
I do not agree with you that PPP hasn't worked. How do you come to that conclusion? In fact, PPP has worked remarkably well in India. In the road sector, in ports, in airports, in ports, airports, roadways.
But look, for example, at what happened in the metro in Delhi, when the airport line was supposed to be PPP. Yeah. You speak to Montek Singh Ahluwalia, you speak to Jairam Ramesh. Their constant crib is that the PPP model never worked the way at least the Congress envisaged it.
No, but PPP, the public sector doesn't have the money. The PPP was introduced to bring more money, better management, and more organizational efficiency. PPP there have been glitches, but to come to the conclusion that PPP hasn't worked, I think is an erroneous one. And here, I think what Mr. Rana said is right. Whether you're talking about PPP, whether you're talking of FDI, these guys will come only if there is money in it. So they may bring better management expertise, they will bring the money, but we have to look into the reason why Indian Railways didn't make money.
There's two. No, but there's a very interesting thing that Dr. Virmani, the railway minister, did, which is he said that FDI will come in and we'll present it before the cabinet. If he'd announced it today, maybe there would have been a huge
but there's two fundamental.
Distance that from the budget process.
There's been two fundamental problems with PPPs. One is it was a learning process, so the contracts have not been written very well. And second has been what we call policy and regulatory uncertainty. There's been changes in policy. There was a certain policy expectation, a certain regulatory on prices, etc. that has not been fulfilled. So unless you get those two things right, it won't work. But if you get those right, you can get unlimited amounts of money. So its credibility is important.
No, but that's true. Why should the idea, Mr. Kalapa, be dismissed just because your party... But what are people on the street and at railway stations making of this budget? We want to go across to my colleague Amrita, who's standing by at the Mumbai railway station. Amrita, what do people around you think of what Mr. Gowda has announced?
See, bullet train is the new announcement and people are definitely very excited about that. Then women's safety was the issue in Mumbai because local trains are considered as lifeline of Mumbai. I have with me some passengers. You tell me, women's safety is important issue in Mumbai and Rail Minister has said that we are concentrating on women's safety. What do you have to say about that?
I surely believe that women's safety is important because in India, women should be given respect, and I guess the decision is right. But like right now it is right, but then I think that there are many bills passed out here, but then the decision which I like, what to say about it, we are not safe. I as a girl, I am telling you that I am not safe. I would like to tell the minister that you give out decisions, but then you should see that are they implemented in the right way? No, they are not. You gave a rule that after 9 o'clock there should be a police inspector in women coach. So then, but though they are there, still I think that I'm not safe. Even though I'm with my parents, but still girls are molested in front of the police inspector itself. and girls, if teasing happens on the station and the crowd just watches it, girl is abused, you all don't look at it, then how do we say that we are safe? There are decisions and they just say that okay fine, we pass this, we pass that, but then there's nothing to be.
Okay, so women's safety is important issue and implementation is more important. आप मुझे बताइए, बुलेट ट्रेन शुरू होने वाली है, एक बहुत अच्छी सुविधा है, आपको लगता है?
पिछले बार बजट में घोषणा हुई थी लोकल ट्रेन के बारे में, वो अभी तक चालू नहीं हुई है और सबसे ज़्यादा बुलेट ट्रेन की जरूरत है पूना बॉम्बे के बीच में। आज 25,000 लोग डेली अप डाउन करते हैं पूना बॉम्बे के बीच में, तो पूना बॉम्बे के हिसाब से अहमदाबाद बॉम्बे से ज़्यादा जरूरी है पूना बॉम्बे।
आप मुझे बताइए, फ्रीक्वेंसी जो है वो लोकल ट्रेन की वो कहीं ना कहीं बढ़ाई नहीं गई है, इसके बारे में क्या कहेंगे?
Yeah, according to my point of view, frequency as well as the number of the train is not increases also. So they should be implement the number of trains as well as the speed of the trains also should be implemented.
Okay, so frequency of the train is major issue in Mumbai because local trains are considered as a lifeline, and also the quality of food they are giving in the trains, because in local trains also there are no toilets, so they have to use the toilets which are on station but they are not clean. So entirely these are some of the issues, but people are disappointed with that because there is no frequency regarding trains. There's not much talk about the security of women, so these are the issues. Back to you.
Okay, there's some announcements for Mumbai as well. As Dr. Lahiri was just pointing out, 816 new coaches. State-of-the-art coaches.
I mean,
is that a big enough number? Because Mumbai would surely need a lot more.
See, one thing that is important, Mumbai saw a lot of protests about the suburban fare increase.
Yes.
Now, out of all the passengers in the country, about 50% is suburban passengers. And that is where the subsidy is the highest. But Mumbaikars will complain, look at the quality of coaches. So, I am actually quite happy to see that there is an effort to improve the quality of service in Mumbai, and as and when the state-of-the-art coaches come, there will be a greater willingness to pay money, because I think Mumbaikars also understand that, as Mr. Rana was saying, that it costs a fraction of what it costs to come by bus, to come by train. But if train is actually
but that
good,
just shows how unfortunate the state of play at present is, Rohit, because for so many years, even now, you actually pay much lesser for a train journey than you do for a
Mr. Rana, I was saying this, you were reading to us about the comparison of bus fares and train fares.
Yeah, Rohit.
So the point, very true, Rahul, and the point being that why should railway fare changes become such a big issue that a minister from the union government has to stand in the parliament?
Absolutely.
Right, the bus operators do not come on national television and say that prices are rising. So it's very good that price changes should become far more dynamic rather than becoming a...
Mr. Rana, it's a very interesting data he wants to share with us.
There has to be, depoliticizing the railways. Let it work.
You just want to give us the example that you have specifically of how it's ridiculously cheap to travel by railways in comparison
to Bombay.
To a bus.
That's true. That's true. I mean, there's 10 times increase. The road fare is 100 used to be 150 and or 3 rupees. Railway fare is only 3 rupees for 30 kilometers. The road fare is much higher. So there's hardly any comparison between the two.
Let him pull out that message. Till then, Dr. Verma.
Another way to put it is there's been an average inflation of something like 9% for the last 7 years. If railways needs to increase prices by 5-6% a year, why should we complain? If they were increasing by 12% a year or something, then yes, you should rise in revolt. Okay, what is happening?
In fact, the question to ask, why were the railway fares not increased? The politicians are asking the reverse question. Why have the fares been
Mr. Rana has it now.
In 1974, the bus fares from Kalka to Shimla used to be cost 5 rupees and the rail fare was 7 rupees. Today, the rail fare is 19 and the bus fare is 130. And still they are saying to me, that the railway fare, the bus fare is now 6 times the rail fare. Earlier, the railway fare was 1 or 2 rupees higher than this thing. But still, when we increase 10%, then there is hue and cry. Okay. What is really required is that at least half there is 7 to 8% inflation every year in the country. At least half the thing should be increased every year automatically. There is a strong need for a regulatory body, statutory. They have announced or approved this advisory body, regulatory body, advisory, but that's got no meaning. Since the political system...
No, he's spoken about
This is the point I was trying to make, Rahul,
Yes,
in
Mr.
regard to populism, because when you said that populism is something which we should do away with, and this
It's
is
killing
exactly
the Indian
no,
Railways.
it's not killing the fact that it's alive and still kicking is something to speak about. This is the great
The
story.
fact that it makes 100 rupees and spends 94 just shows how poorly run the corporation is.
No.
It's not even a corporation. It shows how poorly railways is.
It's the other way.
It's on
and
life support, sir.
No life support, sir. Come on, we've all been, we've all handled this ministry. There's
Not
really
enough
no question.
depreciation allowance.
No.
Railways do not have depreciation reserve fund,
This is the point I'm trying to make.
The government has
if
to pay money
there is such a huge increase in roadways fares, then the fact that rail fares have accounted for very little in terms of price hikes. The fact is that a multitude of Indians can actually travel safely, comfortably on
No, but that's why I counter argue to say that's the reason why there's so many accidents, sir. Because you don't have money to modernize, you don't have money to spend on security and safety, which is why women are getting raped, which is why safety is not good.
Are you going to have a system like the US where rail fares cost more than air fares? Are you going to have such a system?
But that's the opposite argument. How can you go away from one ridiculous argument to the other? How can they be priced so low and you take it to airfare? Why don't you bring it closer to, for example, roadways?
And you earlier made a point in regard to PPPs.
Answer my question. One second. Because you've given a farcical example and I can't allow you to get away with that. How can you compare going from 1/10 of bus fare and increasing it slightly? How does that compare with airfare, sir?
No. You see, in the US, if you travel, you'll know that if you travel from, say, New Jersey to New York, right, you are going to pay an exorbitant sum, or from New York to, say, to Washington, D.C.
No, but that's the wrong example.
No, this is the right example.
That is completely the wrong example.
This is the right example because you can't expect an average Indian to shell out the same fare as he would be shelling out for air to travel on train.
No, but why should he pay 1/10 of what he's paying when he travels by bus?
But the fact is that he got away with paying for so long.
And
the railway suffered because of that.
But gradually
you still have coffers to the extent of about 900 crore in the budget, and Mr. Sadananda Gowda doesn't state it. Mr. Modi doesn't state it.
900 crore is not enough for upgradation of infrastructure. How do you upgrade the railway infrastructure with 900 crore rupees?
Well, you explain how he did it for 10 years.
You didn't. That's the problem. You couldn't.
This is the arguable point.
No, what is the arguable point? Okay, you give me your counter argument.
This is the arguable point.
What is your counter argument?
The arguable point is what you are now stating, that insofar as the UPA government was in existence, for 10 long years, there were really no hikes at all in fares, right? And of course, there were occasions when a hike was proposed.
No, we're talking about upgradation of railway infrastructure, which I'm saying hasn't happened in 10 years. You're saying infrastructure has been upgraded. I'm asking you to explain how.
No, despite that, you see the number of...
You aren't answering my question.
Yeah.
You're saying that railway infrastructure has been substantially increased in the last 10 years. I'm saying give me specific examples.
Well, I don't have the specific example just now.
Because it hasn't happened.
Not only that, Rahul, the people now prefer to travel by road than by rail. So this thing that we are saying, that we haven't increased the fare and people are traveling safely, people like to travel by rail, is not true.
No, it's a mindless populist notion which fortunately has been voted out of power.
Travel by train.
And that needs to change.
80% of the people travel by road.
Lalu Prasad, the former railway minister, is speaking. I'm sure he has a very interesting response and reaction to Sadananda Gowda's budget. Let's listen in.
सदानंद गौड़ा जो जल्दी जो लिखा हुआ था, डिक्टेशन दिया हुआ था, पढ़ के जल्दी क्लियर हो गया।
पीपीपी के जरिए कह रहे हैं ज्यादा सुविधाएं देंगे, क्या संभव है?
सारा पीपीपी का एक्सरसाइज हम कर चुके। वेयर इज मनी? दुनिया में लोगों के पास पैसा कहाँ है? कौन आएगा तुम्हारे यहाँ लगाने के लिए पैसा? पीपीपी जो ये तो मैंने दिखाया जा रहा है, पीपीपी पार्टनरशिप, वर्ल्ड क्लास स्टेशन, दिस दैट, एरोड्राम जैसा। बाहर का आदमी आएगा तो जो देने जा रहे हो तो वो अपना कमाई करेगा कि तुमको पीपीपी करेगा? दुनिया में बाहर में कोई काय निवेश करेगा? कोई निवेश भी करने नहीं आएगा।
This is very interesting. Only Lalu Yadav can come up with it. PPP करेगा, कोई PPP नहीं करेगा. But PPP करेगा कि नहीं करेगा, Dr. Lahiri?
See, PPP, I think it will happen.
How?
It will happen.
He says, where is the money? Lalu is asking.
No, it'll happen when Indian Railways also starts making money. See, right
no, he
now,
says, I tried it as well. There was no money. Paisa kahan tha?
in his time, even Indian Railways are not making money. See, Indian Railways does not pay more than 4.5%, 5% dividend on what Government of India has given it to Indian Railways by borrowing at 8%. So it cannot even pay dividends, and if it cannot pay dividends, private parties will not come. So we need a railways regulatory structure, an organizational structure, and a policy framework in which railways can make money. When railways start making money, others will also come. They will not come for the love of it. They will come because they want to make money.
No, the point was, what you said, the railway said, give us the money, we are doing you a favor, right? We don't have wagons to move your goods. You finance the wagons, we'll give you a wagon. What is this? I mean, you are the railways, you are a commercial organization. If you want investment, equity,
but I think one of the reasons it didn't work is because the PPP model was flawed. Hopefully they can together work out a PPP model. Former Congress Minister Veerappa Moily has reacted to this railway budget. We'll play out his reaction on how the Congress is looking at Gowda's first budget.
It's not a balanced budget. There is absolutely no national perspective in presenting the budget. And the picture is very vague. He has just left it, and I do not know whether the entire budget proposal will be definitely.
Okay, that was Veerappa Moily.